In this video, I'm going to play Planet Coaster 2 and build a mythology-themed park whilst I talk softly to you and help you relax and get down to sleep. This is episode 3 of my Fall Asleep series, and at the end of these I always do a Q&A, so if you have a question for me, put it in a comment below and I might answer it in the next episode. So I'm just going to play the game for a bit and we're going to peacefully build the park together, and then we're going to take a sit somewhere, we're going to watch the sun go down, and we're just going to talk, okay? If you're new here, I'm MadMorph, and this is my gaming channel, of course, so like and subscribe for more like this. But if you enjoy sleep content, I want you to know that I also have a podcast and a YouTube channel called Down to Sleep. That's where I just straight up read books and bedtime stories to help you relax. It's on Spotify, YouTube, and everywhere you get podcasts, and has a Patreon at patreon.com/downtosleep. But for now, let's go ahead and tuck you in. Take a nice deep breath for me, and let's get down to sleep with Planet Coaster 2. Welcome. Let's begin and build our brand new park here in what I'm going to assume is a beautiful part of the British countryside, but you can pretend it's wherever you need it to be. We're going to start with a pathway, and I think the vibe around here, let's see, let's take a look and choose a pathway. I want it to be wider for sure. A very, very big pathway. We have this nice jazzy mosaic, which is quite lovely. We could have a red swirly path. Might be a bit dark. I do like sandstone, but I'm not sure that really fits with the climate that we're in. We could go with a traditional blue theme park. Or wood. I think we're going to go with the blue swirls, actually. Well, let me try this little cobblestone quickly. No, they're all too dark for me, so we're going to go with the blue because this being themed, that kind of fits our theme a little bit, I think. Brings that very design aesthetic to it. So I hope you're comfortable, ready to relax, whether you're in bed or got this on in the background. Maybe doing some work, trying to focus, trying to be productive, you know? It's difficult, isn't it? I always find some background noise helps me so much, and sometimes background noise of someone talking helps me a lot more than music. I get lost and distracted more in music than I do from just like having a podcast on in the background that I'm not even listening to, but for some reason helps. So this is the entrance to our park, and straight off the bat, I think we want to see what we've got in terms of archways, entrances. Let's really focus in on the decoration on this playthrough, the theming, because I think that's where the relaxation's going to be. And once we get some rides in, we'll open the park up. We'll have that lovely hubbub of crowds coming and going. So let's see. I think there is even something we can click, which is 4 archways as a filter, which will allow us to see. If we go to scenery and archways, there we go, that's exactly what we want. We have a Viking archway, a couple of those, an aquatic archway, mythology. I think we're going to do a mythology theme. Oh, that's a very cute opening. Oh, look at this. And we could totally move that to the side where it would fit. A little tacky for my tastes. Oh, this is nice. That's cute. As a park entrance. That one's a bit thin. I think this would be cute if we moved it though. And then we could get into the mythology theme. Oh, I like this one. This is very nice. And then further up, we have something like this. So that's like you coming into the park and you see, you know, you get your ticket and everything, and then dun dun dun, you start to get into the mythology theme. We can have music and effects as people make their way up. It'll be great. So I think we start with this one at the actual park entrance, where people come in. Just to really be like, you're at the park, you've arrived. And as they're coming in here, we should probably start getting our first ride in. A little bit further up though. Let's see what we have. The Mythology Board Slide. Wow, look at that. That could be quite a cool front-facing opening ride. And we could have our pathway kind of snake around in a circle. And this could form almost like a centerpiece. And we could maybe do a load of decoration like in front of and behind it. So you've got like a ride, which is also kind of this ornamental area. I think that would be quite cool. Let's go ahead and get that started. So we want to make sure we've got enough space. And about here would be good, I think. Let's take a look at how this ride actually works and unpause. Looks very pretty, like you go back and forth. Would you go on this? For those who are watching. Oh my gosh, look, there's an animatronic Medusa in his hand. Oh, it's a bit spinny. I didn't know that it spun. I'll sit this one out. I'll hold your balloon and your treats whilst you go on, okay? I'll wait here for you. So let's go ahead and pause. And we have the entrance here, which we can move if we want to. And I think probably the most important thing for us to start with is to work this path around, and then we'll go from there. We'll decide where our entrances are going to be. So if we bring our main pathway up to here, do you feel like it's pretty well placed? Might just shift him a little bit here so he's very, very central. Oh, why is it doing this? Hang on, let's start again. May just need to flatten the terrain that was affected by the building work. Another satisfying part of this you might like is this kind of thing. It's kind of ASMR, isn't it? This is like Dune, but set in England. The old sandworm coming. Let's undo that. Okay. Let's replace that ride. Just want to make sure it's really this guy is central here, look. Too far. I absolutely love the soundtrack of this game. Some games when we do this series, like I might disable the music unless it's relaxing, of course, but I absolutely love the Planet Coaster soundtracks. The first one especially has some really beautiful, relaxing songs on. I'm happy with that. I think... No, it's slightly off. It's okay. Take our time with it. there, I think. That's better. That's the one. So now, let's do our pathing. And we want it to be... I would love to have like a 2 curve ways coming out. So maybe we go like this. And if we want to fix the length, that way we're going to know it's the same on each side. And we can make it symmetrical. And make it match. I think we've done pretty well there. It's not quite the same. Let me do it piece by piece. So there, and then a straight piece. Wait, hold on. Straight. Straight. Let's do a slight bend. And a slight bend. And then let's actually just hit 1 off of the maximum bend. Oh, it's almost like it's becoming a heart. 1 off of the maximum. Into another straight. Into another straight. And then we want to straighten up. Straighten up. And then it's going to come there. I'm very happy with that. So we've now got this perfect starting point. A ride at the center of it. Let's actually take a quick look at what the other rides are, just to see that there's not a better option for this middle point that could potentially be mythology themed. Polarity, aquatic hammer swing. The Forge, it's aquatic themed, resort themed. Mythology themed overpower ride. It's too small. Mythology themed parallelogram. It's cute. It's not quite right. Teacups. Mythology teacups. Nope, I think we have gone with the correct one. These other ones seem like smaller stuff that we would put dotted around. You could even make it feel like a sort of mythological village, and each ride is a different thing, you know? So, let's think about how you're going to get into this ride. With the queue. And then we'll kind of decorate around that. And we can move the entrance if we need to, but I think it's actually fine where it is, because what we're going to do is keep it really low key. And it's going to be hidden among all the directions and stuff that we're going to do. Directions? Decorations. You ever just say completely the wrong word? It's almost like suddenly English becomes your second language, even though it's not. Oh. Let's continue that path. I feel like because it's our initial first ride in here, it's going to be quite popular, so we're going to scooch this back around on itself like a game of Snake. Not too much. And then I think, where do we want this actually to be that you get into it? Rather than breaking into our lovely circle, what if we have a little nub that comes up here, but maybe not so wide. So if that was a 12, maybe it's half of that. Maybe it's a 6. And it sprouts up. And it almost looks like some sort of symbol, doesn't it? Which keeps on theme of this mythological area. And we could make something of this. It could have a wooden beam. And we could add some bins and some benches and stuff. Let's try. 2 benches on the right. If I place that, can I now change where it's being placed? Not sure I like how they've done placing benches and pathways and bins now. That's out of here. So we can see that bench. We have mythology themed benches. I think those might be nicer. Dun 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 da da. Is a wooden railing the way we want to go? Let's see what our options are. Go into extras, metal coaster, polished wood, metal park. I think I like what we have. So we're going to do something over this to make it feel almost like a little garden, perhaps. And decorate it in. Oh, it's quite not central. Hang on. I think I also might make it a bit smaller. Just do 1. It's almost like a viewing garden or platform, right? We could even raise it up. We could make it quite literally a platform. Let's see if we can work out how to do that. Line style, terrain style, suspended. Is that what we want? Would I need to connection, square, automatic? Want it to ramp upwards, don't we? Working height. Perhaps it's that. Oh, I don't know. You can see how that's kind of burying into the terrain because I set the height. Actually looks really good. It like slowly is going down and digs in and makes the terrain feel almost like a garden. Wow. I really like that. I think I would use that somewhere else though, not quite here. Because here I would actually quite like it to go up. Ah, this is exactly what we want. But it sort of just keeps wanting to snap. Ah, I think I've worked it out. We want to turn our extras off for a second. We'll have the rails on, turn off the path extras. Check this out. So we go to clip and come up. And we'll have a little straight bit there. And then that's kind of where I want to put the benches, I think. Right. Like here. So people can come up here and have a sit down. I wonder if there's more of a fitting mythological pathway. There isn't really, is there? The rustic. The gravel. We'll stick with the blue, but it might be that it's better off without benches then. Wait, or is this the blue that I like? Blue without the swell. Okay. It's just a little raised viewing platform that people can come up and watch the ride at. I like that. So we'll continue over here with our queue. Ah, here we go. Set it to 0. Wonderful. So we'll just have the entrance. We're going to hide where people get onto this ride. And hide the pathway. So you can actually just have it connect there. We'll build out all across here. I suppose actually if you wanted to, you could even... A great way to use that like buried pathway. It would hide people queuing up for it, wouldn't it? Let's try that. Just a bit of a brain... Oh! Ah. I didn't mean to undo that. It's a redo. Phew. Little quick idea. Something to try. So let's say this pathway comes out, right? This queue path. And then once we get it on a straight and narrow, we have it start to go down. Down, down, down. Let's say minus 8 seems too much. Try a -3 if I can get it on it. Is that too deep? Okay, it's not quite what I thought. It is and it isn't. Like I want it to go deeper, quicker. There we go. And then we turn off the height. And we have it just come straight up. Nope, that was the wrong thing. Put the working height back on, -3. And then it stays at that height, under there, dug into the terrain. And then again. Slightly better loop. And then it looks completely flat from here, but there's actually a pathway here. And then if I turn off the working height, we can have it come up and rejoin, and that's where people start queuing up. It's slightly busting that path though. Let's try and fix that. Needs to be a queue, thank you. There we go. Let's have it come around and join where it's kind of not gonna mess anything up too much. And we can cover that with something and make it fit in. I like that. As for the exit... Oh, sorry, that's... my Alexa started talking to me. She said, I'm not sure how to help you with that. It's okay, Alexa, darling, I'll work it out. And then this is just a normal path for leaving. Oh, nope. Turn off the extras. How do I make this thin again? It's becoming... it's too fat. Like, I feel like not every... I feel like we can do a thinner pathway than that. Four seems to be as small as it can go. It's so big though. We'll have people come out and exit this way around the side. And have it just connect up. Why are you being so weird? Just connect. Yeah. Dun 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 dun. Okay, so now if we open this ride and unpause. Ah, this didn't connect. Let's see people start to come in. We have our entrance music. Welcome to Sleepland. You can change the music if you want, but I'll leave it for now. As people come in, and that's what they see. They make their way to the ride. So, we're going to start to decorate this area and take a look at what we have. Guests can't reach the board slide. I think you can. Should be able to. Scenery. And you can probably filter by theme here. Yeah, mythology. There we go. That's going to help us. We have all kinds of different dressings that can be used. We'll just start to play around. Let's see. I mean, that's big boy, isn't it? As people start to filter in. Yonder to the mythology park. This is pretty. We have to remember that this is kind of our centerpiece. And it would certainly cover up the pathway. Some really great pieces here. First people start queuing up. An old boat. We could make some of this water. Might be pretty cool. I like the idea of them entering this through something, like theming this entire entrance is a nice idea. Like they go through a building or something to kind of like get into there, like this. We could maybe like this, but half of it would be great. We could build that, we could work on it. Got a little mythology building here. This is cute. This feels quite themed. Feeling like we do this and then just take off like that. It works, I think. Can tidy it up slightly. Clips right in there. Why are people being weird with this pathway? Coming up here and walking away. Maybe they think it costs too much? Imagine going to a theme park, you get there, there's one ride, and you're like, costs too much, and you leave. I like this as a little entrance, don't you? So now, let's start to play with the scenery a little bit, with our scenery brush. We can bring in some rocks, I think. Can we make this look like it's being held up by rocks? Might be quite nice. Whoa, that's a big boy. That's a big boy. Just keep playing with it until it's right. Don't want them to be too high. We don't want to like block the view. I want it to feel like it adds to it. Can we make these smaller? Whoa. Not really. Small rocks. Different brush. Just kind of want to like fill this underneath with them so it doesn't look so much like it's just suspended there. Gonna do all this and no one's gonna even visit up here, are they? Guaranteed. I think what we would like to do here actually is bring in the shell of some shops. Either side. It's going to make it feel a little bit more alive. It's going to attract people to this middle section. So we come to facilities. And if we change it, there's a way for us to see the themes and stuff. And just get the shell of the shop, I mean, like the innards. How do we do that? Out of blueprints. Create custom. There we go. Big old button just there waiting to be seen. I think people would like to get a drink. We'll have juice, healthy juice. And let's have people get balloons, because it's nice to see people walking around with balloons. Why is it snapping? Change the grid. So then, if we come back and we find the mythology shell, there's the Viking one. Is there a mythology one? Do it by theme. There's a nature theme. Could build a nature area. There isn't a mythology shop? What? Why not? Maybe there's something we can use in scenery. Look, mythology shop shell. Yeah, that works. So we plonk this over the top of it. And it'll be on theme. Shop 2. I feel like that one is good. That's on brand. And then line it up. And voila. We have a shop opened and on theme. We'll use a different one over here. Just slips right in. And it's open. Nice, I like how that looks. And I'm very glad that we did this little raised platform. I think that looks nice. Let's try and add some trees. What kind of trees would exist? Small plants could be good. Such a big... That's so pretty. Oh, lovely. I like that. Kind of brings it together. Even though it slightly overlaps. I actually kind of dig it. Garden vibes. Bit of colour. Those look way more like mythological rocks than the ones I've used. I think. Let's see how easy it is to remove. If you change your mind about something. Pretty easy. Oh dear. No, no, no. I'll leave those ones under there, I guess. I would like some rocks, please. Scattered around in that area. Smaller ones. I don't know why it defaults to such massive brush sizes. But it does. Maybe I'm not feeling the rocks at all, now that I've added garden stuff. See what else we have. Mediterranean palms, Mediterranean large trees. Let's just get a feel of what fits this area. Mediterranean plants. Tropical trees. And small plants. Tiger. That looks pretty good. And then let's see what the first trees were. The temperate autumnal trees. Ooh, gorgeous. Those are nice. Gives a bit of depth and height to what we're looking at. This tree bothers me. Shift to demolish. Perfect. But I do want one big tree here. It's a little picky about when it places something. I don't like seeing the bare bits. That's fine. That's okay. I like that it's got a height difference. This is a long time just for one ride, but I told you I've spent 6 hours plus before just decorating the entrance of like a ride and theming it all, so strap in, you know. Maybe we have a nice what would trees look like in the front? Let's see. It's covering too much of it. So I feel like we do set pieces here in the front and garden, like love this garden vibe. Absolutely love this. So let's head back into scenery. And maybe think about one of these centerpieces on each side. For covering pathways up. Centerpiece. Look at this. Isn't that cool? That covered up quite well. can actually do this, which is quite cool. If you want to see how it looks, change your camera. You can actually walk around your park. This is probably what we'll do whilst I'm answering questions, since no one else is going to enjoy the view. You can come up here and have a look. Everyone's getting their balloons. So you can start to like look through and get a vibe. You're like, whoa, what's that ride through there? The magical gate. Let's go to the queue, Daddy. Come through here. Then you go down, down, down. It's like you're in a hedge maze as you make your way to it. If you wanted to, you could dig into the landscape here and do decorations for the people walking along. You get to look up and see it. And then you're there, ready to go on the ride. And then we want something on this side to cover up this, and then we shall decorate and move forward. If we're doing a garden, it might make sense to cover it with something like this. Just see how that looks from back here. You can still quite see it. Oh yeah, he does have the Medusa up there. Oh, that would be like kind of cool. Like look there, and then you're sort of seeing it from the pathway as you're queuing up. This might be too much taking up center focus though. Yeah, it's giving too much. Here it could work. What else do we have? This is nice. As you exit. I dig it. Looks like it's more for an entrance though, because the paths, the bushes come out onto the path. So you actually want it more. Ooh, here, and then we pull them apart slightly. Yes, okay. I like this. So here, then we're going to want to edit this. Edit building. Wonderful. Change the grid size so we can put it right up to the path. Do the same on this side. That's pretty cool. I like that. It's not obstructing too much. It's hiding just a little bit of the shops, so when you come through, you enjoy those. I honestly feel like a big arch here. What do we have just on this archway? Don't wanna overdo it. But some lovely plants might be nice here. Don't want it too much over the path, do we? Getting those tiny glade vibes when we use this one. Even though I say avoid paths, it still goes right up to it. Nope, just go a little bit. Nope, a little bit in there. Nope, just won't listen to me. this is like raising slightly, so actually we're gonna cover that a little bit. Like that. I am starting to wonder if a different pathway would make more sense. But we'll worry about that later. I actually kind of like the way it's overgrowing. Let's try and do that all the way down. It's a little bit fussy. Maybe if I tell it not to avoid the path, it'll then actually do what I want. No. That wasn't it. Too much. Too much again. Okay. We may build stuff off of this later, but just for now. Just to make it feel a bit more immersive, a bit more alive. So you come through, you've got these wonderful welcoming statues, the big centerpiece, a couple of shops. Now back to this. Sorry, I will get distracted every so often and just do something else. Did that one already. Oh man, like imagine just lining the whole... Oh, lining the circle with this? That would look so cool. Wouldn't that look cool? Would you do it this way? So people see the trees on the, and on the outside it looks like that? Would you do it that way? Would you do it this way so it's circled by trees and people see that? I think people would rather see this from this side. This is how you'd want it to be, I think. It's going to be difficult because of the way I've done the pathway though, isn't it? Because of that wall, I would have to like rebuild that, but you could chunk all the way around. How would it look for us? For us, this way looks better, I think. Almost like you're creating a coliseum around it. Let me just place this so we can see. So like for us, it looks like that, which looks really cool. And if you're in the park, you get trees on the pathway, which is less cool. slightly less cool. I need to get rid of this tree. It's going to do the pathway too, isn't it? Just scenery. Just that. Oh wait, it's part of that, but it's on the path. I see. I could edit those and pull them back if I wanted to. Might be a case of just redoing a bit of path work. We could also just do what we just did there and actually make this feel like it's part of it still. People are invariably going to clip through this stuff anyway. And that's okay. We're not paying too much attention to the people walking around on this video. It's just building, having fun, doing something pretty, and rambling about it so that you got a bit of background noise to chill out with. So I'm going to go with that. I'm going to repeat it. I'm going to second guess myself too much. And which one were you? This one. I think it looks nice, and that's all we need. Oh. Like so. And then just bring it in. Just a walk in the park. You can see how from where we started with literally nothing, the vision starts to come together, doesn't it? As for this front area, let's get back to that. Again, distracted every time. I would like to see that garden piece that we did see before. I think we put one there. And the more coverage here. And it looks a little tacked on right now, but once we fill this gap, it feels a bit more like a cohesive garden piece. You know? And you can make it feel a little less like it's just thrown in there by adding some trees. Adding some trees, if it'll let me. Why does it do this? Trees. Any second now. I just wish I could place them individually and not have to rely on a brush, you know? Like, let me pick the tree up and put it exactly where I want. Because it's just not listening to me. I've turned off paths. Like, here it'll do it just fine. When I'm like, put a tree here, it's like, nah. No thanks. I literally just want to plonk a couple of trees down, man. Oh wait, turn off scenery. Avoid. My bad. Aha. Okay. Come on. Come on, darling. Place a tree. I believe in you. Not like that, though. Nope. 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 Do you know what? You tried, and that's fine. You tried your best, sweetheart. Let's move forward. And you're trying your best as well, aren't you? I know you are. You're doing very, very well. I hope you know that. Even if nobody else sees the work you're putting in, I recognize it, and so do you, and that's what matters. You're doing very, very well. Just keep going, okay? Now, what am I going to do if I don't want to fill this with trees because it's going to cover our lovely center area? Do I just loop a pathway through there and turn it into a garden? Or potentially, do I squeeze another ride in there? Let's see what we have. On the mythology themes. Like, you kind of could just squeeze something else in front. Like, that would be pretty unobtrusive. That's too much. Oh my gosh. That looks fantastic. That could work really well. It actually, like, kind of goes with what we've been doing. And we've got then a water effect. It's got potential. I'm honestly between this little one being in front and it doesn't affect the line of the eye at all, or not the boat. That's too much. That kind of works. It is that ride's going to go right up in front of him, though. What was the one with the splashing water? Ah, this one. Oh yeah, the ride's going to go up in front. You know, this might actually work behind. Adds a little background effect. It's going to be a very short queue, though. Yeah, let's go with our instincts, which is this little thing in front. And it has the entrance and the exit. Like this. Let's test it. If that was to be there, but to be central. Thank you very much, darling. Like this. Let's run a test and see what the ride actually looks like in motion. I don't love its position. I don't love its position. You may have to move it. What if it was like here? I didn't super love that either. Let's think about that other one. Let me just test this. I feel like it's overpowering, going by its name. So we're just going to fill this in for now, and then move forward. Turn it into a garden, I think. So let's just do a slooping pathway through here. Need to be strategic about this. Fixed length of 12. Straight. Turn. Straight. Turn. Straight. Actually, let's make this a cobbled path, so it feels more like a walk. We've got that. We've got gravel. No. Jazzy mosaic. I think I like the rustic. Oh, don't go over there. Okay. Then we're just going to fill this space with the plant life. and it becomes... Oh, don't want it to go over this. I love that the avoid path doesn't even work. It still just goes over it. I have to do it so many times. It's getting there though, you see the vision. Like, you see what I want, right? But... I just want it not to go so badly over the path. Nope. And then I do one undo and it undoes so much. So fussy. I'm fine with it overgrowing this front bit a little bit. I can worry about that later. There we go. That's better, that's better, that's better. Getting there. Just, it's so close. Just behave, please. It looks, when it's over the rustic path, I don't like it. It's too much of a color break. If it's over the blue path, it's okay. Oh my gosh, just, there you go. There's a shadow of a balloon. Did someone lose a balloon? See it just passing over us here, but I can't actually see the balloon itself. Okay. Garden vibe. And maybe dig out some of the terrain. Like this. Have an idea. And put some water in there. But I feel like then we have to lose that stuff that's on top. Yeah, I like this. We'll just have the we'll redo the garden to the edge. Stuff that doesn't look like it's floating. So you got a little walk and a little moat, a little water. Like so. Oh. I'd hoped you would play ball once the terrain was dug, but you're actually going to be even more misbehavior. Mm-hmm. I love that they invent a theme park simulator and builder and design your own roller coasters. Me spends hours just gardening and trying to get bushes to place right. That's now too floaty, so maybe I just need a different type of small tree. Add in a little bit of different plant life there. I like that these have a different height to them. Perfect. I think that's looking really nice. Very happy with that. No one's choosing to walk there though, so I feel like I'll have to put a shop or something if I want people to actually use this pathway. I guess it could be a little shopping area if we... Could be another building here, couldn't there? Let's go back to facilities and we'll put in a place to get ice cream. And somewhere to buy a hat.
That's fantastic.
And then we add our scenery shell around it. Open the shop. Oh, actually, let me just rotate. Got a little bit of difference here. Like this. Okay. So now people will start filtering through here, and it almost feels starting to feel like a village. Starting to feel like an actual mythological town with a few more buildings in there. Very nice. A great start, I think. All for just one ride, but I mean that's the centerpiece. People come in and it's here. We can start to build off from there. We can design a roller coaster, a log flume together. All that good stuff. Okay. Now that we've got our base, we kind of know where we're going from here. What should we work on next? It just popped up that we have no staff building, but I think because we're in this sandbox mode, we actually don't need one. Wow, I forgot how pretty this was. This is really, really good looking. I think we did well here. I took a little break, so I've come back to continue, and I'm like actually impressed with what we've done. I'm very proud of this. Sometimes you just have to sort of step back from what you're doing for a minute, don't you? To acknowledge it and come back, you know? And I think maybe that's important. If something is bothering you at the moment, remember that you can take a step back and come back to it later. Well, now, let's get rid of this little red thing. And let's go ahead and consider where we might put another ride. It's a really good start. I'm very, very happy with it. Now I think it would be maybe good to have... I don't want to ruin these sides too much, so we're just going to go beyond what we have so far and build something here. And maybe it would be nice to build our own ride. Maybe a log flume? But like, you can create custom water slides. You can create a body flume, a body slide. Just instantly my mind goes to shooting people out up into the air. Inner tube flume, I mean, a lot of options. A lot of options. Let's take a look at building a raft flume. It starts off with this. A platform. Okay. Is this where people get onto it? And then this is where it starts. Okay. I see. How do people get up to this platform, I wonder? I guess we'll worry about that later. So let's pretend. It's not very high though, is it? Can we not go higher? Why has it completed it? Let me just delete it. Hang on. Create custom. Let me just place a normal raft flume and see what it looks like. It's like this. Ah, okay. So they have a platform that goes up and then goes down into that. So there must be a way for us to raise that platform. So if we say create custom, raft flume, build, angle snap, snap distance, rotate, move, okay. I don't think I want this all the way back here. I know it's going to be ugly. We'll just build it for fun, and then we'll do something else. So, how high can you go? How high can you go? Okay, that's pretty high. Right then. So if it starts there, and then you raft out and go straight down, I'm sure this will be fine. Oh, we can turn too, okay. Oh, there you go. Keep going all the way down. Or we can make it open, make it a half on the right. That's pretty cool. Oh, what's happened there? I want you to go down. Down, 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 down. Is this because there's no support or something? This is quite confusing, I must say. Like, just... Huh? No bend in it. Just normal and long and down. Okay. No context. I don't understand. The ability to add more seems to disappear. And I'm not sure why. Oh, click the place button. Sorry, bit of a dummy. There we go. What if you went down and like into the ground? Like this. And then it just bends up and throws you out. Okay. Done. The ride is untested. Well, let's give it a test, shall we? People down on the raft. And they go flying out. And they're absolutely fine. The ride is unsafe. What if we put a pool here? Would that make it safe? Let me see. Where do they land? About here. Flying out. Oh, just missed it, darling. A little closer. About there. Go ahead and test that. Nailed it. Is it safe now? Bum 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 bum. Place entrance. Wow, it actually thinks it's safe. There's no way. There's no way it's gonna let me put people in this. Connect entrance to path. Little pathway. We'll be back to building something gentle in a minute, but I have to see what happens. It's actually open. Let's wait to see the first person brave enough to go on it. You couldn't pay me all the money in the world. Many guests think Raft Flume 3 is too nauseating. Do you think? Someone's gonna go on it. Surely. It's too scary and too nauseating. It's got a 20 fear and nausea and excitement rating. Surely there's some absolute daredevil. If we make it free. Costs nothing. Free to ride. Some people coming. brave enough. If no one's brave enough, we'll delete it and start building something else. But I think they're going to go on. I'm very scared of heights myself, so I don't think I would actually go on any of these big drop kind of things. Sorry. Quite the moan. Let's just see if this group goes on. Speed the game up, actually. It looks like a death trap, so it wouldn't surprise me if nobody goes on this. Just give it 30 more seconds, a couple more people to pass and see if they go on. Will this little group be brave enough? Nope. 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 Everyone just says, absolutely not, even for free. Can't get people to go on for free. This is some nice ASMR rewind sounds. So now let's go ahead and continue building our park up, shall we? Now we did want to put something behind here. Let's go into scenery theme and set it to the mythology. Was this the one? Yeah, with the spurting water. Gonna clip this behind here. Cannot cross paths. There. So now we have this beautiful water effect coming in behind, and it doesn't get in the way of our front-facing. If anything, it adds to it with these pillars behind. But our only question is how we place the path. So we shall bend the queue out immediately this way. Honestly, what a lovely place to queue with all of this coming around through a little forest. I like that. Perfect. And people can exit instantly back to the path, but we're going to make it the same colour, please. Make it the blue. Keep the swells for the main circle. And you're open. Bum 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 bum. Music's so good. Let's have a look at some scenery for here. See, now this looks too big, right? But we can actually scale it down. We want it to be, I would say, about there. What if we actually put it in some water right here? A little water area with a boat. I think that would look gorgeous. So, let's plop this here for now. I would put it about there, I think. Oh, needs to come up some. I love their movement tool like that. There we go, because the water will... Oh, I didn't save it. Do you know what? We'll wait till we do the water. And let's remove the tree. Weather and seasons. Oh, we can change the weather. We can see what everything looks like at nighttime. Let's do that after. Demolish this tree. Not all of them, just that one. Why does it want to do all of them? So I'm going to put water here. Like this. Oh, that's too much. Bum, 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 bum. Tree remove. Remove tree. There we go. And then we put the water in. Oh, there we go. Looks a bit tight, doesn't it? Let's move this down so it's actually in a position that makes sense. Maybe it'll look a bit better that way. Don't want it to be... maybe what we'll do is spin it. Like this. I think that looks better that way. Sort of feel like it should be not just in the grass like that. This should be a different color. If we could color the terrain. Yes. I can change it to like a dirt. It's just like painting, isn't it? So it's dirt here instead of grass. Makes it feel a lot more realistic. We can get some gravel around that corner. Bit here, bit there. And put some rough rock here. So it looks like it's in its own little world. And not a grassland. I like that. Maybe just have the grass start returning here where the tree is. And then it fits a little bit better, doesn't it? I think we could even put some special effects here, couldn't we? We could have it like spurt water on people as they go past. There's a snow effect. Boiling steam. Bubbles might be cute. Explosions, falling blossoms, flamethrower. Falling leaves. How pretty. You can even set up event sequences. Smoke, sparks. Underwater bubbles. Have a kraken coming up to get the boat. Here are the water jets. Water splash. Makes it look like it's moving a little bit. Sprung a leak. Make it feel like they're rowing. Actually feels like a leak. water rapids splash. Like they're going forward. And is that people feeling unwell? You can hear them gurgling their way along. Big old water splash. A sprinkler. Make your own waterfall. It's pretty cool. I think it's people going on this ride, making them feel a bit unwell. I've never been on a ride like that. They have them at the theme parks here, but no thank you. We've built such a lovely area. This looks amazing. Kinda can't believe I built this. It's actually better than anything I did in the first game. My western ride was pretty cool though, especially my log flume. I look forward to building this further and further out, I think. Just adding more and more and more. Let's sit somewhere where we can get a nice kind of ambience and watch. Hear some of the sounds, but not too many of them, and then I'm going to answer the questions from the last video. So this is what we do in these fall asleep videos. We get to a point where we stop the gameplay for a bit, we sit, and I answer your questions from the comments last time. So if you have any questions, drop them in a comment below, within reason, of course, and they might be in the next video. But I'll go through them and answer them for you, okay? So, let me begin. Let's see what questions we have. Alright, this feels comfy. Let's go ahead. And I wonder if I can change. I did say I was going to walk around the park, didn't I? But actually what I'm going to do is just set the camera here. And put my feet up and talk to you. It's like my own little therapy session as well sometimes, you know, so let me get comfy. And let's have a little chat, so. First question. What made you want to start a sleepy reading channel? So that is in reference to Down to Sleep, my podcast channel which I have, which has been going for, I think we're coming up to our 4th anniversary, 4 years, in December or January. I forget, I have it written down somewhere. Which is a weekly podcast where I read books to you and audiobooks and whilst you go to sleep. And that started because of the live streaming, when I used to live stream every day on Twitch. Just every day, pretty much, people would say, you know, oh, I fell asleep. And I get probably a comment every day as well saying, was trying to watch the game, fell asleep to this video, fell asleep, love using your videos to fall asleep. And I guess I just decided to fully embrace it. People used to come in and comment, oh, I'd love you to read me a bedtime story. So after about 7 years of hearing that every day, I decided, why don't we see what happens if I did do that? And it actually started out as a weekly live stream. I only did a couple of them though, because I very quickly realized that it wasn't the right format for it. But it was actually a live show. And I had like a fire up on the screen. And I started off by reading The Hobbit. And it was called Stories on Sunday. And so every Sunday I would live stream, but it would just be me reading a book. And I just you realize it now in hindsight, but I'm glad that very quickly I realized actually this needs to be a podcast or a video that people can pull up when they want to, not to come to a live stream for. So I ditched that pretty quickly, and I made it down to sleep on Spotify and everywhere you get podcasts. And I focused on it being just a podcast at first, and it's got a Patreon as well. That's kind of the best place to listen to it. That's twice a week or more. Did like 3 episodes last week. And then I made a YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel took about a year before anybody listened to it. And again, I had to like change the format a little bit. It started off as like 15 to 30 minute episodes, and then I realized that YouTube people are pretty greedy and want it to be like 3 hours long to fall asleep with, so made the videos longer, and suddenly they just absolutely flew off basically. And that podcast has done pretty well over time, and mostly thanks to probably my reading of Coraline and of Twilight. The Twihards have absolutely lifted that podcast up and all joined the Patreon, so... And Lord of the Rings as well has been a pretty big hit for me, so... it's fun. I love doing it. I love reading. I've always loved reading. I used to read to my siblings to help them sleep. People say I'm a decent reader. I think I've got better with practice. I don't think I was very good at first. I speak too fast because I come from live streaming where any pause or any beat that I take as someone who isn't on camera, I feel like it's dead air, as we would say in radio, right? So it's like, it makes me panic. So I just talk really, really fast all the time. And I've just picked that up from years and years of, I used to stream like 10 hours a day. So it's taken me a really, really long time to like find my natural voice and my natural cadence again, because I still just had like really quick streamer voice. So I cringe listening to the old episodes of the podcast, to be honest, but I still put them out every so often just because I read some great books during that time. But if you compare what I did 4 years ago to what I did last week, it's completely different. But what I do now is much more closer to my actual voice, just because, honestly, through streaming so much every day, it actually took me kind of a long time just to get my normal voice and my accent back. Because I was just playing, streaming, hearing American voices all the time. My accent wanders. This is like very common with British people, I think, where you pick up other accents very quickly, and it's hard to go back from. And especially because I was role-playing every day. So I was doing a voice, sometimes for 6 to 12 hours a day. I would be playing a character. And I lost my voice for a while. It was like how like Gary Oldman says from acting he lost his voice. But for me it was even worse, because it was literally, sometimes I would, not talk outside of streaming, right? So the only thing I would be saying in any 24-hour period would be 12 hours of me doing this character's voice. So yeah, completely lost my accent and my voice for a bit, and have slowly uncluttered that side of my life and found my normal cadence and voice again. So that's why if you go to an old video, I can sound a little bit different. Sorry, that was a long ramble about that one, but I mean, does that matter? We're here just to chill and fall asleep as the sun goes down over our beautiful park. Do you also struggle to sleep? Yes. So do you create content to help people like you? Or was it more people kept leaving comments saying you have the perfect voice for it? Well, I guess I just answered that. I do really struggle to sleep. I don't really have anything to help me. I listen to rain, which is why I started doing podcast plus rain in the background, just because I'm obsessed with the rain sounds and people really, really liked that. Those really blew up. But yeah, honestly, I think I said in the last video, I just struggle and I just work until I'm exhausted, or I play games on my phone until I fall asleep. Yeah, sleep is a struggle, and helping people with it is a big, big part of the podcast. I mean, for the first 2 years or so, like, the podcast didn't do very well, but I kept doing it every week because it was helping people, and and it does better now. The YouTube does decent. There's like a lot of people on Patreon for it, which is great. It allows me to do even more with it. But it's super meaningful to me because the comments I get, you know, people say everything from I'm going through exams and I have this on in the background whilst I'm working, to I struggle with chronic pain and this is the only thing that helps me relax and helps me sleep. And you can't not read that and just think that it matters more, you know? It comments over there keep me going more than on the gaming, I would say, because with the gaming stuff, it's very light and it's gaming, right? But when you realize from the comments that something's like really making a difference in someone's life, yeah, I mean, that wasn't the plan when I started it, but I realize how important it has become to some people, which is sometimes a lot to live up to. Like, it makes me feel bad that I don't do more sometimes, and I do everything that I can, and I try so hard. And then, you know, someone will say like, oh, I have to wait like a week for the next episode, or whatever, and it's like, I'm trying, I promise. I feel bad. It makes me want to like put out an episode every day just to help, but I can't. So it's 2 or 3 times a week. And hopefully it's enough. I mean, the episodes are longer now. They're like an hour. So, but I really enjoy it. I enjoy the reading, and it helps people. And some people just like to listen to it as an audiobook, and that's great. And I'm going to move on to the next question, because if you haven't fallen asleep by now, if you aren't interested in that, I've probably bored you half to death. I apologize. But I'm always happy to talk about the work and that side of things, because it's the most important thing in my life, even though that sounds probably a bit sad, to be honest. But the stuff that I create, as goofy as it is, I take it quite seriously. So is there anyone you look up to? That's a good question. I guess there are people that I admire, their talent and their skill. Voice actors are kind of stunning to me because it's definitely something I would love to do. And so that is something where you go, wow, you know, when you hear a really good one or see the behind the scenes of it, you just think, gosh, you're amazing. But I feel like I kind of grew out of having role models, in terms of the career at least. What about in life? Man, it's a hard question to answer. I want to say my parents, right? In a really cheesy way. But the things that they've worked through and gone through, and how hard I've seen them work, it's definitely where I get my work ethic from. You know, my mum studied and became a teacher and continued her education whilst raising 2 kids. And growing up seeing that definitely inspired me, and how hard my dad worked and continues to work to this day instilled the ethic in me, which honestly is kind of an unhealthy level of obsession, but it is what it is. We are where we are. It means I get to do this for a living, so I'm happy with it. So I'd put those 2 in there as kind of people I look up to. Not perfect, of course. No family or parents ever are, right? There's always an issue, but I'm very grateful for what I have and for what they kind of taught me in one way or another growing up. God, I'm trying to think of like a fun celebrity or something to say. I mean, it's probably people with great work ethics, you know, it's like The Rock and stuff like that, which is so cheese, dude. But when I see those kind of cheesy Instagram and TikToks of people working and self-belief, you know, like Michael Jordan, like I watched a documentary on Netflix. It's called The Last Dance, and it was originally an HBO documentary, and it's about that 90s era Chicago Bulls, and by extension the career of Michael Jordan. And you can't watch that and not be so inspired. The end of every episode had me like ready to run through a wall to make stuff happen. It's just so inspiring. Like, that's the kind of level I look up to, I think. People who dedicate their life to something. If it's a celebrity, it would have to be that in terms of really like, wow, I admire them. Which other people would say is psychotic. You know, people say that Michael Jordan level is psycho behavior to dedicate your entire life and that much to it. But I mean, if you know me and you know my channels and how much I do and how much I put out, like, it's my life. So you often talk about listening to music and soundtracks on your walks. I do. Romanticize your life. What are some of your favorites? Let me open my Spotify and I will tell you what I've been listening to recently. In terms of pop, I love XG right now and have for a bit. Paramore's on here. I've been listening to them again recently. The like Twilight song, that album with the butterfly on the front, amazing. But in terms of romancing your life and going on a walk, Emil Masseri, who did the Minari soundtrack, that's an amazing one if you want to process some big feelings. The Road to Perdition soundtrack, Thomas Newman, he's good. Max Richter is amazing if you want to cry. What else do we have here? This is just, by the way, this is actually a playlist on Spotify called Cinematic Chill Out. Relaxing soundtracks to help you escape and unwind. I listen to this one quite often. It's got some really good ones in there, so I found some good ones there. And then let me see in my actual own playlist that I've created what I have for you. Where are you? The theme from Eternal Sunshine, that's fun. That makes you feel like you're in a movie. A little indie number. Consolation by John Bryan, who also did the theme for Eternal Sunshine, but that's from the movie Lady Bird. That's a beautiful piece. And I just heard this piece for the first time the other day in a playlist on Spotify. It's called Bluebird, and it's by Alexis French. And that's really nice. So all stuff like that. Pick a soundtrack. I mean, I can remember, I've always done this when I used to go to, on my way to university every day, was at the time when, like, The Dark Knight and stuff was out. I just used to listen to the Batman Begins and Dark Knight soundtrack, like, every day on the way to university and stuff. Just pretend you're Batman on the train. It's great. So just pick what kind of vibe you want from a film and then just listen to that soundtrack and live your life. And life is way more interesting. Suddenly you're a character. And, you know, the truth of it is you are the main character in the story of your life. So why shouldn't it have a soundtrack? You know, it's going to inspire you. You don't want to be a side character in someone else's story. You certainly don't want to live this life and end up looking back and that you were an extra, okay? So we're going to find that main character energy this week. We're going to pick a soundtrack. We're going to have it on whilst we're doing some work or going a walk or commuting, alright? We're going to embrace how important we are to our own story, because that is something that you can't doubt. You may not doubt your importance in your own story, because it's yours. You are the most important aspect. Okay, someone said, mentioned houseplants on another video. What kinds are they? How long have you had them? I have a cactus that I've had for like 5 years or something, 4 years. Long, I don't even remember. A long time that's been in my bathroom. And bless it, it gets on pretty well with me forgetting to water it, because I'm terrible at it. I've had a money plant for a couple of years. that goes through fits and spurts because I'm really bad at remembering to water them, but I always manage to bring it back from death. I've had orchids in the past, which I quite like, but they have to be low maintenance or they just die. Like I had another 2 cactuses which I forgot to water to the point of having to get rid of, so I'm a terrible plant dad. What are your favourite cozy games to play? Are you mainly drawn to other game genres when it's not for YouTube? What do I play when it's not for YouTube? Honestly, currently nothing, because I don't have the time. Literally nothing, and sometimes I wish that I did have something. And I literally, part of what I do for a living is recommending games to people. And I will often, if I have a bit of free time, I will sit here and I'll be like, what do I want to play that isn't something I want to record? Nothing. And I hate it because it's such an important escape. You know, it's good for you. It's great for you to have that when you have a break, something to jump into, whether it's for relaxation or for the dopamine. And I haven't had anything for a really long time, which is why I got really excited by this game. Because this is something I could load up and lose a few hours in and build something. But then I'm recording it for YouTube, so I kind of screwed myself. But I can't even remember what the last game I played for myself that wasn't on my phone. Which is so sad, dude. I'm just like, I'm a mobile player now, you know? Hate that. I literally only play the Marvel game though. Dragon Age the Veilguard was kind of for myself, but I recorded it and then put it out. Because I just thought if I'm going to play it, I may as well make a video out of it. And that's why that video is just super duper chill and not really like constant talking, because I was just kind of playing it for me. Let me look on my Steam. Last thing I played that wasn't a recording. Having to scroll down quite a bit. Bum, ba, bum, ba, bum, bum. Ba, ba, ba. Oh, I did jump into Liar's Bar and I played a couple of rounds of that. But I was seeing if it was good for a video. That was decent. It's sort of like Liar's Dice and a card game. But yeah, I mean, I've been struggling. I've been hoping to find something to play again. You know, I envy people who have a Fortnite, a Roblox, where they just play it every day and they just enjoy it. And they don't have to think about finding something. Because the games I really love, to answer the main part of your question about what my favourite games are to play, is I love the indie games, I love the stories. But I will not play one if I'm not recording it. And I enjoy recording it and sharing it. Like, that's the pleasure I get from it. Playing for myself when I do get into something, I played Overwatch 2 for a while, but I'm very glad that I gave that up because it was making me miserable. I do have a competitive side that I enjoy from time to time. I don't play COD. Animal Crossing I did, obviously, for a while, going back some. Something like a Resident Evil I would get into. I did pick up Resident Evil 4 recently, thinking I would play it for myself. Probably I'd be more likely to play big games where I just think I'm not going to do a full playthrough because they're too long. And I'll just like chip away at it a bit for myself. But yeah, I need more games to play for me because I'm dopamine deficient and just like dying sometimes, honestly. That's why I just work, because I'm like, well, what else am I going to do? Probably set my PlayStation 5 up in the main TV room and play on that. Would be the main thing I would do. I got God of War to finish. I've been thinking of going back to Red Dead 2 as well. Anyway. If you had to go back to working with music, what would you do? I would run my own company, probably doing management. I did always kind of want to do management. A lot of thoughts back in the day of like putting bands together and managing them. I really wanted to do like a girl rock band, honestly, back in the day. This is going back so many years now. But just never really pursued that because I ended up working at a songwriting and like sync company. Basically a songwriting representation company, but we also did sync stuff. So like sending it to, you know, singers and people, songs written by our songwriters. I try not to say too much because I don't want people to find out where I used to work. But it was at quite a high level. And then I left and I did start my own company representing music for like to adverts and stuff. To sync basically you call it. So you'll be like, hey, I've got so and so's song here, this like would be good for an advert. Which I don't think you could do these days because everything is just like you pay a company $20 a month and you have access to like 10,000 songs. It's kind of dead. So I wouldn't go back to that. I would go back to the management side, but I would never do it. But if I had to, that's what I would do. If I wasn't I myself composing, because that's something that I've always loved. But yeah, if it's not me making music, then it's me enabling others to do it. Because I'm pretty good at like actually giving advice, and I've made a somewhat decent success of myself, right? But I'm even better at telling other people what they should do. Weirdly, like I can know what I should do for like really good success, and I don't do it. I don't listen to myself, but I'm a very good mentor. I like mentoring. You know, coached my brother into being a very successful YouTuber, and anyone that I've given advice to over the years, it's 99% of the time paid off. If they listen, you know, so kind of like see things differently, I guess. But yeah, God, I would actually hate to be back in the music industry. No thanks. It's in an even worse state than it was when I left, I think. If you've been to Scotland, what did you enjoy most? I have been to Scotland. I was very young. I was but a wee lad, as they would say. And what I remember is the drive was horrendous. It took us about like 12 hours to get up there. I get car sick. I was sick multiple times. We stayed on a farm, and I remember loving the guinea pigs that they had on the farm. There's a picture of me just like cradling one in my arms like a baby, but not like upside down like a baby. It's on its, you know, it's upright, but in my arms. Went fishing. Loved the dog. The dog was called Shep. I still remember. Their dog was called Shep. Absolutely loved it. And it was this sheep dog, like sort of collie, black and white. Bloody loved that dog. So when we were out just like on the farm or like at the pond and fishing and stuff that we stayed on, like that dog would be around, and yeah. Didn't go out and like see parts of Scotland. We were just staying on this farm and just like hanging out for like a week. I don't know. We used to go to weird places. If you had to be in any fictional world, which would it be and why? If you could choose one world from a cozy game you've played to live in forever, which one would it be? I mean, Animal Crossing would be pretty great to live in, right? It's just happy and beautiful all the time. Lots to do. Crafting. Nature. Friendly friends. I guess you'd miss humans, but if you could like visit other people, that'd be great. Fictional world. I don't know why my mind goes to Fallout, because that's a terrible place, but I'm obsessed with the apocalypse. Fictional world to live in. I mean, what's the most utopic, like a utopia, where no one has to work and everyone's happy and it's just how humans should live in small communities of happy people that love each other, providing for each other, and doing whatever makes you happy. Let's start a cult. Yeah, what's yours? If anyone's still awake, let me know in a comment what fictional world you'd love to live in. Maybe we'll revisit this one with some of your answers in the next video. I could discuss the worlds that you want to live in. Let's do that. Comment the worlds and the games that you want to live in, and then I'll judge you. Gently. You just casually glossed over you don't think humans are from this planet. My ears never perked up so fast. Love to hear more of your thoughts on it. I guess without... I don't know enough, and it's not really a strongly held belief. I just think there's a great chance that life on this planet could have potentially arrived here on a... is it a meteor when it lands, or an asteroid? It's a meteor, isn't it? It's an asteroid when it's in the space. When it's into space. Like a meteor when it came here. And for some reason I just have this idea that it may have even been like purposely fired here from far, you know? We could have been like a distant civilization, and that civilization was failing. Or for sake of argument, let's say we're from Mars, okay? Mars is failing. We've ruined it. We're living there. We are the Martians. Hey man, planet's failing. What are we going to do? We've got to send our life to somewhere else in the galaxy, but we haven't invented spaceships that can go that far. Let's go ahead and put our human bacteria, virus, life stuffs, DNA onto this passing rock, like hitch a ride on it, or even like send it purposely to that planet that is in the Goldilocks region of being good for life, you know. For all we know, what killed the dinosaurs could have been like part of that. It could have been a terraforming to prepare the planet for humanity. We could be an alien ant farm. It might not even have been humans that sent it. We could have been sent here by a life form and power greater than ourselves. Boom, land on the Earth. To them, time ain't nothing but a blink. Billions of years pass, here we are. You know? It's all possibilities, man. We don't know the truth, but the more and more I look around at Earth, sometimes I just think we're very much the thing that sticks out like a sore thumb. We are such a detriment to this world, and how insanely not perfect, because the animal kingdom is absolutely brutal, but it works in harmony. It finds a way, right? So there becomes a balance, and I think humans are the thing that is outside of that balance, because we're greedy, and because we build, and because we kill, and we hunt, you know. So yeah, I just feel like we don't fit on the Earth, and we're probably from another planet. But also the real aliens are under the water, so that's the real story. What is your theme song for your day-to-day life? Ooh. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. I just wanted to rickroll you. What is my theme song? I like Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. That's like impossible to be sad if you put that song on. Eye of the Tiger, Rocky, all the underdog themes, all the songs about being tenacious, you know, never giving up. That's my theme song. Don't Stop Believing by Journey. That was my song before Glee, and then Glee did it, and it became too popular, and I can't listen to it anymore. But before Glee did it, Don't Stop Believing. Don't Stop by Journey. The one, dude. You mentioned your cats. What are their characters like? My black cat is a moany, greedy, needy annoyance, like all good black cats are. But I love him very much. And Obi is just an absolute little daddy's boy, like sweetheart, perfect little angel, just the typical thing between two cats. Like, one's constantly pestering me for food and for attention in a way that's kind of like, oh my god, give me a break. And the other one is just a sweet little angel, which is the two personalities that if you ever have cats, you always end up with those two. But they're both just absolute sweethearts and very, very codependent. So Gave them too much love, I think, as kittens, so not a bad thing, but they just literally cannot leave my side. What was your first ever job? Did you enjoy it? My first ever job. What was my first ever job? First ever paycheck I got was working in the basement of a university in London. Was this first? Wait, I've got two, so I'll tell you. Well, this is the one that first one came to mind. Was working in the basement of a university in London, a big university, sorting out an entire room of files that, like, if they were before a certain date, they were to be incinerated, I guess. Had to, like, throw those ones out. Other ones had to be filed somewhere else. Worked it with someone else. It was through them that I did the job, so we kind of just hung out in the basement and, like, watched movies and went and got breakfast together and, like, chatted and, like, watched stuff, hung out. Just us in there, down there in the bottom of this university, down these, like, dark hallways. Crazy. It's like almost like picture a boiler room underneath an institution filled with files. Like, actually would have been scary on my own. But we had a great time. That was like 2 weeks. And I did that, and I can remember when I got my paycheck, I thought, oh my god, easiest money of my life. Like, we watched so many movies and had so much fun. And the pay was, like, for me as a teen, amazing. And I think it was literally minimum wage, but I hadn't really had a proper paycheck before. I'd always done bits of work for my dad's company and, like, helped him out and stuff. So that for that, I was really like, oh my god, that is I got this much money, a paycheck. I think it was like £500 or something. And it, like, blew my mind. Loved it. And then I think, I can't remember if I got paid, but I've told this story before that I went through Daniel Radcliffe's fan mail for him. Again, with someone else, through someone else, that they were doing that. That they had to connect with, like, his driver, and they used to go through the fan mail themselves, I think. And it was very early on when it was getting to be too much. So the driver was like, oh, pay you X amount to, like, go through X many bags of his fan mail. Keep the stuff that's interesting to the side, you know, make sure there's nothing terrible in there. Anything that's interesting, keep it, we pass it on to him, but kind of cut it down so it's, like, only a few bits, the best, you know. And the rest was just to kind of be, like, looked through and put into another bag. I don't know if they tossed it or what they did with it, to be honest. I can't remember. This is a very, very long time ago. Like, he was still very, very young. Like, it was the start of Harry Potter craziness. And so, yeah, like, for a couple of days, just went through bags of Radcliffe's fan mail here and there with another person. And it was, like, loads of it was from Asia. Lots of, like, art that people wanted to send. People would just be like, hey, I'm from China, and I love the books, and the movies are so great. You're amazing. And just keeping stuff that felt really heartfelt, or like we thought that he would want to see, and then just keeping it in another bag and passing it on. I don't know if I got paid for that. I can't remember. It may have just been cash. And it was like someone I was seeing, so I think I just said, like, I'll just help you out. Like, you can just have the money. I don't think I actually got the money for it. Because it was also pretty interesting, you know. Other jobs is I've worked in a shop. I've worked retail, which I hated. It was very quiet. And I would just sit and watch movies. As you know, I'm a movie buff now. I would sit and watch movies and play video games that could be run on the PC. So, like, Football Manager. And, like, 1 or 2 people would come in a day, and I was so bored. But when people did come in, I was petrified, because it wasn't busy enough for me to get used to it. So someone would come in to buy a light bulb, and it would freak me out, and it would just be like, and, like, having to, like, use the credit card thing and get them to pay by credit card, or, like, when they actually bought stuff. I was just terrified all the time that someone was going to come in and want something that I couldn't provide, you know. So, because I was the only person in there. I was the only person in the shop. So, What else have I done? Haven't worked too many jobs, honestly. Had some interesting ones, but haven't, like, never been one of these people that's gone job to job to job, shift to shift to shift, and all kinds of different, like, retail and coffee shops and stuff. I very quickly worked out that my brain and the way that I do things, I wasn't going to be able to do a normal job, to be honest. And that I had to make something else work for me. Like, it was just, it's that, or I'm just going to have to, like, live very frugally. So that's why I kind of, like, chased things my whole life, because I can't work for someone else. I just can't. That's not me being, like, too good for it. That's me knowing that my brain cannot do that, which is why I worked the hardest and just absolutely, like, sacrificed everything and gave everything I could to make other stuff work, because I will not and could not do a normal job. If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be? Either something that you literally can't get rid of and will survive all things, everything, always, like an ivy or something that will just keep growing slowly over time until it's everywhere and you're like, Jesus, how did that happen? Or a mighty oak. What's a good tree, man? A weeping willow. There's too many memeable answers here. I would be... Ooh. Yeah, I'm just going to go with the ivy answer, I think. It's not a great answer, but again, I know my strengths, and my strength is being tenacious and never giving up. I'm never someone that things happen quickly for, but I'll make them happen eventually. Have you ever been recognized in public just by your voice? No, thank God. I think I would run away. Literally. Like, if I go in my coffee shop and I go, can I get a latte or whatever, and they're like, down to sleep, MadMorph, I would never go in there ever again. I'd go, no, what? Sorry, who? Terrible liar, so you'd be able to tell instantly. What? Sorry, who? Down to what now? What'd you say, sweetheart? I'm a tourist from the Americas. No, I'd actually die. I'd hate it. I don't like people in the real world knowing what I do or who I am. Have never been recognized, hopefully will never be recognized. Don't think we're big enough for that. But then I forget how many people have seen my TikTok. But I don't really sound like how I talk normally, you know? And I think I go very British and a higher pitch if I'm outside. I can't talk like this to someone. I speak very, very softly as my natural. This is very soft right now and just mumbling away. If I'm outside, it's going to be more like projected. Oh, hey, blah, 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 blah. Otherwise, they won't hear me. Because my whole life, people have just been like, huh? Because I mumble and I don't talk very loud. So I don't think anyone would. And thank God, I can't think of anything worse. Which is also why I'm glad that my face reveal isn't a full face reveal and doesn't really look too much like me and has a mask. Like, no one would recognize me from that, 100%. I hope. Yeah. I've said it before, but if I had decided, which at one time I was considering, to start camming or to have my face in my TikToks, I think I would have a hard time leaving the house. And that's not me trying to be funny. I genuinely would hate to be famous in that way. And too many people see those for it not to have been a thing. Like, if my face was in those TikToks and then like 10 million people are seeing a video, can't think of anything worse. I just like making stuff and sharing stuff. I don't want any fame or anything from any of it. What is omlele? Where did the name come from? I always see you use it. I'm dying to know. Omlele means omelette, and it's from the 1 Hour 1 Life videos when I started the cult of the egg, and omlele became the cult phrase. Omlele, praise her, omlele. of working the cult, because the only thing that I knew how to do in that game, which if you haven't seen those videos, one of my most viral videos, 1 hour 1 life on here, it's called Born as a Baby to Another Player. All I know how to do is make eggs, so I would just teach other players how to make eggs. And it was the cult of Omlele, praise her. Which then just kind of stuck, and it became the name of my island for Animal Crossing. So then that became Omlele, the island of Omlele. Which again, I just did not thinking I was going to play Animal Crossing for more than a day. I thought that would be like a 2-stream game, and I ended up playing it for like a solid year every single day on live stream. So it became more of a thing than was planned. But yeah, it's the cult of the egg, the Omlele. Don't even eat omelets that much, but or eggs for that matter. Took on a life of its own. Our church, great. Describe one thing that did not go your way, but you were comforted by the thought that somewhere in the multiverse everything worked out. Well, it's hard to like give a specific example, but I will say it's definitely a thought that I have from time to time, that if something didn't work out for you in this world, it probably did somewhere. If you believe in multiverse stuff, which seems to have some decent evidence for it. Yeah, I mean, it's in another way of thinking. My favorite parable story thing, another way of like, this relates to it, and you'll realize how I mean that something worked out somewhere else for you, is the story of the Chinese farmer, where his son finds a wild horse and he brings it back and he says, "I found a wild horse, Dad, isn't that great?" And, you know, the man says, maybe, maybe not. The next day, the son's trying to break the horse in, and it, like, bucks him off and breaks his leg. And he's like, "Damn, I broke my leg." And the village are like, "Wow, your son broke his leg, isn't that terrible?" He's like, maybe, maybe not. The army comes through. They're looking to, like, conscript for the army. His son's got a broken leg, so he doesn't get conscripted into the army to go away and fight the war. They're like, "Wow, you're so lucky that he had a broken leg. That means he didn't have to go in the army." He says, maybe, maybe not. It like goes on like that. And just the point is, as I said before, even bad things that happen to you, you don't know what the maybe or maybe not is. You don't know where it's leading you to. You don't know what the consequence of it is. So it's not necessarily that something's going to work out for you in the multiverse. It's that it can work out for you right here by not going your way. Because when a door closes, a window opens, blah, blah, blah. So if you don't get that job, just know that the job you are going to get is where you're supposed to be. And that wasn't for you, you know? It's so liberating. It'll change your life to see things that way. That even the bad are leading you to something, you know? And it's not necessarily about like it being God's plan, life's plan, the universe, kismet, destiny. You don't have to believe in any of that. You just have to believe the facts. And the fact is that life goes on. So if you don't get that job, you know what? There's going to be another one. And it might be better. Might be worse. But even if you get the worst one, that may lead you to where you need to be. You might meet the love of your life at the worst job of your life, you know? You might have the best job of your life and meet someone who's terrible. And that impacts you. It changes you. It makes you want to be a better person. And in 5 years from now, you're an amazing friend to someone and you change their life. Like, this is the way the world works. Everything that happens, it's just things happening. Just all you can control is how you feel about it and the way that you respond to things. And if you're always coming at it from trying to be better, trying to be kind, trying to be good, and it can't go wrong. Even I've had terrible things go on, you know, even the worst things that can happen to you. Trust me, I'm older, like, bad things happen. This isn't from some privileged standpoint of like, easy for you to say, because like, this happened to me. You can apply this to anything. Trust me. It's always you're where you're supposed to be, you know? and it will all be alright in the end. And if it's not alright, it's not the end. So don't worry about it, you know? You can say it's nighttime still, it's time for bed. Actually sunset rather than... There you go. Nighttime. Time to tuck you in. So yeah, you know, live your best life and all that. What's one game or multiple games you've played that are your favourites? Always for me, Fallout 1 and 2, amazing. Divinity 2 is incredible. If you like Baldur's Gate 3, you have to play that. Love isometric RPGs. That's probably my favourite genre of all time. I absolutely adore them so much. And yeah, I'd probably just say those. Any isometric RPG, I get lost in them for some reason completely. Baldur's Gate 3, more to come, still to finish the playthrough, you know. Finally, after a year. Longest playthrough of my life, let me tell you. I'm going to be sad but equally relieved when that's done. I can't believe when I was first starting that Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough, I was like, hey, I should also do a Divinity 2 playthrough. Hey guys, shall I play all the RPGs? No, it's definitely not happening with how that series has gone. Yeah, so many favourites, honestly. Spiritfarer is up there in terms of stuff that's not RPGs. Edith Finch. Last of Us is a very special game to me. Playing through the first Mass Effect had a profound effect on me because I had just been playing MMORPGs a lot, online MMOs. I hadn't played single player games for a really long time, for like a couple of years or so. And so Mass Effect was me coming back to single player solo gaming and stories. And because of that, it blew my mind. I'd been starved of gaming as a storytelling medium and how powerful and beautiful that can be. And Mass Effect was my re-entry into that. Because I've always been a gamer my whole life and played all kinds of games, and then I got really addicted to MMOs. And I was just playing them every day, like in a guild and all this kind of thing. So I didn't have time for other stuff. Or just like little multiplayer games here and there with your crew, you know? And then I like rented Mass Effect and I played it on Xbox 360. I was like, oh my god, this is what I've been missing. And I had all of these wonderful single player games to catch up on over a couple of years that I hadn't played anything. And I think that's why I love story games so much and why I appreciate them so much and how they are as an art form and a medium for storytelling. Because it takes you to somewhere else. It's an escape. It means so much, you know. So those are my favourites. Isometric RPGs with their wonderful stories and their worlds, and very focused story games that you feel like you've read a book when you finish them, you know. Like Red Dead 2, it's so popular, but it's such an achievement, that game. It's glorious. Doesn't have to be big sandbox open, that can be linear, it can be a Mass Effect, it can be stuff like that. But I would love to know what you guys like. Again, like, feel free to kind of chip in here with your own responses to these that can lead into other questions, and I will be reading them in the next video. I'm going to do some of these, or at least one of these I have planned, which won't have a Q&A because it's more of a story game. But do put your questions still, because whenever I'll just like knock them onto the next video, whichever the next one is, you know. And I think as the sun comes up in game, that's the last of the questions that I had written down, so that's where we'll leave it. So if you'd like to know any more or have any questions, do put them in a comment below. Let me know if you would like more of this sleep series. I'm also considering putting these on Spotify on the podcast version of Down to Sleep. So if you check out there, you might see these here, but if not, just enjoy the bedtime stories and the audiobooks that are there. Reading Pride and Prejudice and Sleepy Hollow and If you join the Patreon, you get The Lord of the Rings, Coraline, Howl's Moving Castle, Twilight, everything. Haunting of Hill House that I'm reading at the moment. That's Down to Sleep, everywhere you get podcasts, or patreon.com/downtosleep. Like and subscribe here. Obviously, I will keep this series going. It'll be in a playlist. This is episode 3. And suggest games that you would like to see me do it with. I'm putting a lot of work on you, I realize, but just pick one of those tasks and complete it, and I'll be very happy with you. And thank you for watching, listening. I hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you in the next one. If you need some more, I will put the other Fall Asleep videos on the screen now, so you can just go ahead and click one of those and continue your sleepy background noise times with me. But thank you for spending some time with me and hanging out. I enjoy getting to take this extra time to sit with you. Till next time, good night.